There's this theory that hauntings are nothing more than extreme emotional imprints in time, like a film being projected from the past, and the people you see are ghosts who aren't even aware that they're dead, or even cognizant. People have talked about the White Lady of Stow Lake, and how she cries looking for her son through the fog around Stow Lake, her drowned son, that she might have killed herself. In 1915, they erected a statue of her, holding the hands of her 2 children. And they say on foggy days around twilight, if you step back just enough and wait, right when the fog obscures her, and you can't make out any details and she starts to look like a real person, they say the 3rd child appears at her side. People talk about the ghosts of suicidal jumpers haunting their own bridges, but the one place where people feel extreme emotional imprints is right under the Golden Gate Bridge at Fort Point. This is where Private Atchison died in 1865 of unknown causes. People say that when they walk down the halls of Fort Point, they can hear boots walking down the halls ahead of them. And some people even say that they can hear boots running behind them as if they were being chased. But the eeriest experience that people have shared is that people say that on foggy days, they can see the silhouette of a soldier running toward them as if being chased. Now, it's easy to say that this is the ghost of Private Atchison being chased, but the real question is, who was chasing Private Atchison? Notice that these 2 stories take place around or shortly after the Victorian era. And if there's one thing that's more famous than the fog in San Francisco, it's their Victorian homes. And if there's one thing the Victorian era left San Francisco, it was the Black Plague that inflicted so much of the population of San Francisco in the 1900s. People say that every Victorian is haunted, but one extreme case is the Dickinson House in the Haight District of San Francisco. There are too many stories that don't corroborate, but the gist is this. A young woman afflicted by the plague, suffering from dementia, is left alone in the house to die by her mother and sister in 1901. The only fact that repeats amongst all of the stories about her is that she was heard screaming, "He's killing me," but ignored by the neighbors who knew she lived alone. Her body was found mutilated in her mother's bedroom. Now, according to previous tenants, the house is undoubtedly haunted by a violent spirit. These are just a few stories of haunted San Francisco, and you can learn more about it just by walking the streets. San Francisco's been called the city of nostalgia. If the city is nothing more than one giant emotional imprint, who's to say that we'd even know when we die? Every moment from this point on is nothing more than a memory of an event that happened when you were alive. They're all just imprints in time.